Before I start journey about my startup, I would like to give some respect for our Indian scientists who for Chandrayaan-3 success. So why don't from Garje Marathi we can clap and give that respect to the Indian scientists. It's such a remarkable achievement that India has achieved. So before I start about my company, probably let's keep a little bit more interactive if possible. How is the healthcare system in India versus the healthcare system in here or any Western country? We can find very much different healthcare system. At one side, it is in parallel where get all the facilities, but on the other side, if we go, healthcare systems are not to the quality healthcare system that we get in India. Now, when I will go to the very specific problems statement when we talk about neurosurgery or brain surgery as such. It's considered as a very complex surgery, correct? And in this complex surgery, particularly the success rate or the fear factor is very high. When we say anybody undergoing for brain surgery, people think it is risky surgeries. And especially when it comes to the India, the brain surgeries are really the success rate is low compared to the Western part of the world. And when we see this, why this happening, just for your some stats to give more relevant information. If you know there is a Mirgi or the epilepsy, the worldwide 13 million epilepsy patients are there, and epilepsy patients or the Mirgi patients are kind of coming from African and Asian countries. Alone in India, there is 1.2 million epilepsy patients. But how many of them really go for surgical options? Not more than 8 to 10%. They stay on the medication throughout their life and suffer through this kind of epilepsy throughout their life. Because why? The only one reason, the surgical precision or surgical accuracy is not to the mark. Or the fear factor, what happened in the brain surgery, if it is not successful, probably done. So that fear is not allowing patient to take surgical as an option. While in Western world, this option is more prominent or it's taken. Now, when it comes to this precision surgeries particularly, it is a very interesting fact is that why those precision surgeries are not that successful when it comes to the India or any other countries, kind of African countries, all those low countries. One of the reasons found is the surgical instruments or the precision instruments or precision high-tech platforms required to perform these surgeries are either it is very expensive, and India, particularly in India, I have the numbers. The adoption of this kind of equipments are only 7%, where government is not making mandatory to use these kind of surgical instruments or surgical platforms, where in Western world it is kind of standard of care. That means without those precision equipments, surgeons cannot do the surgery here in the US, but in India you can do it. So the result is probably you don't get optimal results or you don't get that precision surgeries done. There is a social economic factor why this is not adopted in India. One of the reasons when we look at it is the surgical cost in India is too low compared to the surgical cost here. But all these high-end equipments, when it comes to the robotic equipment or high-end, when I say high-end surgical instruments, those are in the range of $500,000 of the equipment that they need to procure. And those kind of investments, hospitals are not ready to do it because the surgery cost itself is kind of couple of lakhs, 10 lakhs neurosurgery is done versus 100,000 in the US. So the equipment costs are so high that this high-end equipments are only in the probably only the premium hospitals has been taken in India, not in the tier 2, tier 3. And that is one of the reasons why the surgeries are not happening to the optimum or precision level. So this is one of the problems when we started looking at the India epilepsy numbers and epilepsy surgery numbers, and Dr. Nilesh Purwale, who is himself is in epilepsy, one of the top epilepsy surgeon in India, he identified there are only 3 epilepsy centers across the India, and doing only thousands of surgeries. And when we have 1.2 million patients, surgeries are not adopted. And one of the reason is not having a high-end equipment. And what is high-end equipment? There are two equipment that's needed for this surgery. One is called the surgical navigation system. So when surgical navigation system is something like a GPS in a very crude way, which allows surgeons to figure it out where is the tumor, if it is a tumor, where is the tumor inside the brain located, and how do I reach there? So it requires very, very precision, probably precision at level of sub-millimeter accuracy. So that to reach and find out at sub-millimeter accuracy, it is not possible without these devices. So one of the attempts that we have done, a company called SaphireX Surgical, we started this during the COVID time 4 years back, and we have developed the product, surgical navigation product, which is so far ruled by 2 companies worldwide. One of the companies, Medtronics, probably everyone knows, and another company is called Brain Lab. So this is the first time in India we build this product, and we got regulatory approvals just 6 months back from Indian government, and we are able to deploy 200 plus hospitals this machine so far in last 6 months. An amazing result that we are able to get thousands of patients get treated with this machine. One of the good things that government initiative is being taken, and that's really we have to look forward. Now, Indian government is making mandatory for all government procurements in terms of the AIMS or in terms of the army, all those procurements, medical device manufactured in India, at least 50% of the equipment should be make in India products. So that makes these products qualified to get into this mainstream, into the particular medical government sectors. So this gives a lot of opportunity for anybody who wanted to work in the medical device industry, particularly high-end medical device products, which is, if you look at today also, CT scan or MRI scan machines, there are prominent players are only from GE, Philips, or all these foreign 3-4 vendors that's ruling that market. So this is very big industry in terms of high-end medical device industry, and with the government support, I think it's going to be next decade going to be very interesting. That a lot of these kind of big, I will say, high-end medical product where a lot of research and clinical trials and all those things required can be produced in India, and we have a big opportunity as government is encouraging to do this product development in India. So that's pretty much I have here to talk about my company. I don't want to go in detail about the product because it's very it will be difficult for me to explain without showing me something on the slide or something like that. But one attempt we have done is basically how we can treat epilepsy patients in India and go in the route where provide this kind of equipment at the grassroots level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Dr. Nitin, you are also in a similar field, I suppose. We have Dr. Nitin who does the similar thing.